Welcome children. Today I am going to take your history as well as Swiss class. Let me first take your history class. The Delhi Sultanate and the impact of Islam on life and culture in India. The Turkish invader expanded their dominions over Muhammad Ghori, who died in 1206. After him, Qutbuddin Aibak ascended the throne and laid the foundation of Delhi Sultanate under a new dynasty named Slave Dynasty, who ruled from 1206 to 1526. The Slave Dynasty. Before ascending the throne, Qutbuddin Aibak had already crushed a number of rebellions. He ruled only for 4 years and didn't get enough time to establish a sound system of administration. Though he constructed 2 mosques, one at Delhi and the other at Ajmer. He also started the construction of Qutub Minar but couldn't complete it. Later it was completed by Iltutmish, who was his son-in-law. Iltutmish Aram Shah succeeded Qutbuddin Aibak, but the nobles conspired against him and was replaced by Iltutmish, the real ruler of Turkish conquest in India. He was the first Turkish ruler to introduce a purely Arabic coinage and made Delhi his capital. He chose his daughter Razia to rule as his sons were incompetent to be a ruler. Razia was brave and led her army in the battlefield, but the nobles didn't like the idea of being ruled by a woman, so they conspired against her. She was defeated by Altunia, the governor of Shirhin. Later she married Altunia, but the nobles plotted against them and they both were murdered in 1240. Nasiruddin Mahmud. In 1246, Nasiruddin Mahmud ascended the throne. He was a pleasure-loving and weak and so left the administration of Ghiyasuddin Balban, the leader of 40. He consolidated the authority of the crown, dealt with rebellious governors and resisted the attempts of many Hindu rulers to regain their independence. Balban. In 1266, after the death of Muhammad, Balban ascended the throne, who adopted the policy of sternness and severity. He instilled fear in the minds of Turkish nobles by inflicting severe punishment for slight offences. Some of them were publicly flogged. He died in 1287. And with this, I am ending my history class. Now let me start your civics. Local self-government, rural local institution, Panchayati Raj Act. On April 24, 1993, the new Panchayati Raj came into force. The 73rd Amendment Act added a new schedule to the constitution providing guidelines to new Panchayati Raj Acts in the state, which requires a 3-tier Panchayati Raj system at the village, intermediate and district level. At the village level, 2 interconnected bodies have been set up at the village level under an existing Panchayati Raj Act. They are Gram Sabha and the Gram Panchayat. Gram Sabha is the member of all the adult members who are registered as the voters in the Panchayati area. Only the minor, lunatic or disqualified member cannot take up the membership of the Gram Sabha. The vice president is elected by the Gram Panchayat and not by the Gram Sabha. Sittings of Gram Sabha. The Gram Sabha holds 2 meetings in a year. The first after the harvesting of the Kharif or the summer crop and the other after the Rabi or the winter crop. Functions of Gram Sabha. Following are the functions of Gram Sabha. Number 1. To approve the budget for the year. Number 2. To consider the new taxes which the Gram Panchayat may like to levy. Number 3. To review the audit report of the last year's accounts of the Panchayat. Number 4. Gram Sabha elects the Gram Pradhan as well as the members of Gram Panchayat. Number E. If the Gram Pradhan or the Vice President are not working properly, they cannot be removed from their offices. Number 6. It oversees all other activities regarding the village. With this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.